We're talking chapter 15 here and monopoly. And why are we talking monopolies? Because that's where the money is. All right, so let's go ahead and look to see how we look at a monopoly problem. So we're given here a graph. We want to label the different lines on this graph and then identify the profit maximizing price and quantity. Well, one thing to note is with a monopoly, there's a single seller in the market. So when we talked about a competitive market and the firm in a competitive market, we had two graphs. We had the market graph and the firm graph. Well, in a monopoly, because the market has only one firm, the firm is the market. So we have our upward sloping supply curve, which is also our marginal cost curve because the firm is the market. We have a downward sloping demand curve because the firm is the market. But additional to the demand curve is the monopolist has a marginal revenue curve, which always falls on the inside of the demand curve. And that tells us is for each additional unit we sell, our revenue will increase by a certain amount. All right, so now we have labeled our graphs, and now we want to identify the profit maximizing price and quantity. Well, to maximize profits, the general rule is to set marginal revenue equal to marginal cost. In the competitive market, we did that by looking at marginal revenue as price and then set price equal to marginal cost. But in this case, our price is going to change based on the quantity we produce. If we produce this quantity here, we get that price. If we decrease the quantity here, we get a higher price. So we have both the quantity and price effect within a monopolist. And so when we set marginal revenue equal to marginal cost, that's this point right here. And that's going to give us the optimal quantity within a monopolist. So that's going to be our Q monopoly. Now once we get that, we put this back into our demand equation, and that's what's going to give us the price for the monopolist. Okay, so I take this quantity, I bring it up to the demand equation, and this is now the price to the monopolist. Now we can identify the different areas of this graph in terms of surplus. So consumer surplus is the demand curve up to the price that the consumers pay. So right here, this triangle is consumer surplus. Producer surplus is the price that the producers receive all the way to the supply curve. And so it's going to be this funky looking shape right here. And now we have this area where the firm is willing to sell it at this price here, and the buyers are willing to buy it at that price. However, if they do that, they have to lower the price for everyone. And by lowering the price for everyone, they're actually going to decrease the profits. So this then becomes the inefficiency of the market, or the part of the market that we lose, and we call that the deadweight loss. And so here's how we identify the different parts on a monopolist graph.